Welcome to the channel of A Queen Divine, where messages get delivered right on time. Hello, my beautiful divine butterflies, and welcome back to our Shadow Work series, episode number 3. Okay, so I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I am. Okay, so on this episode, we are going to be talking about forgiveness, forgiving everyone, forgiving them all. Okay, let me turn this down. Okay, I do want to say, like I used to be this type of person. I used to hold like resentment and grudges towards people when they would do certain things to me, like betray me or hurt me or just do anything in the category of deceiving. I would hold grudges and resentment. But what I have learned is it is best to forgive them, to forgive everyone, everybody. And not because they asked, but because when you don't, you carry that heaviness with you. That resentment and grudge literally becomes baggage on you, you know. I feel like when it came to forgiving others, well, when it comes to forgiveness, I believe that forgiving is also a way that helps you heal, because you are able to release all of it. Once you decide to forgive, instead of holding on to it, it's like a huge release. Now, for me, there were 3 different types of forgiving that I had to do. The first type of forgiveness I had to do was forgive the ones that never apologized. And you have to understand, a lot of times people, you know, they do certain things. They know they betrayed you. They know that they've deceived you, but they don't have it in them to take accountability. Instead of taking accountability, they would rather, you know, make it as if you did the same to them, or you did it to them. They didn't do that to you, you know? And so you have to forgive those that never apologize, because more than likely they never will. And so it's like, if you're sitting around waiting for an apology to forgive someone, you will probably be waiting a long time. You will be waiting a long time, because a lot of people they don't want to own up to what they have done. And that's okay. You have to be the one who is still able to forgive them, even if they didn't ask, because you don't want to be walking around with that. The second type of forgiveness would be to forgive your expectations. Forgive the expectations that you place on others. What I mean by that is, a lot of times we will expect that because someone is our family, or, you know, someone is our friend, or someone is our spouse, that, you know, a family member will be honest, or a family member will look out for me if I need it, or a friend wouldn't betray me, or my spouse wouldn't deceive me. You know, a lot of times we put high expectations on people just solely based off of what we would do, you know. And for me, it helped, you know, forgiving those expectations. You forgive those expectations that you put on them, and you learn to understand that you shouldn't put no expectations on anyone, and forgiving those expectations. It helped me in a tremendous way, because when you don't place expectations on people, when you forgive the expectations that you placed on people, and you learn to not put expectations on people anymore, you come to understand that without your expectations on people, it's less likely for you to be let down. I've noticed that a lot of what people did to me, or how they treated me or how they betrayed me, all of those things, it hurted, but it wouldn't have hurted so much if I didn't hold them at like a high expectation. If I didn't put certain things that I feel like they would do or wouldn't do on them, I wouldn't have been so hurt. So forgiving the expectations of others is something that also needs to be done. And then you release those expectations. Excuse me. The third type of forgiveness would be to forgive yourself. And I know a lot of times it could be hard to forgive yourself, because in order for you to forgive yourself, you have to admit to yourself, certain things, certain ways you went wrong. You have to forgive. You have to own up to all of the things that you were blind to. You have to understand the parts that you played or allowed others to do what they have done to you. So forgiving yourself, I would say it's probably one of the hardest ones, due to the fact that it's some things you have to admit. It's a lot of things you have to admit to yourself to be able to forgive yourself, because you could say all day, I forgive you, or I forgive me, but without knowing what you're forgiving you or somebody else for, it's not really forgiveness. With forgiveness comes understanding what you're forgiving. So the last type of forgiveness would be to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for everything. Forgive yourself for being so in situations when you were naive, in situations where you chose to look at somebody as a friend when you knew they weren't a friend. You have to forgive yourself for going against your better judgment. You have to forgive yourself for going against your intuition. You have to forgive yourself for just feeling so small to ever even believe that you had to put yourself in a box to be welcomed by others, or you had to keep giving people chances when they showed you they never deserved one. We play roles in we play roles in a lot of things that do happen to us or are done to us. And like I said, we do have to forgive ourselves. It's not just a pointing finger at somebody else or just blaming somebody else. Excuse me. It takes forgiving them, forgiving yourself, and forgiving anything or any aspect or just that played a part. Yeah, you just have to forgive, because since I have forgiven others and forgiven my expectations, and since I have forgiven myself, it's been, I don't even know, it's been like relieving. I feel like when it comes to forgiving others, I feel like trying to forgive others, like when you're like trying to tell them you forgive them, I feel like a lot of times when I've tried to forgive people, like on like a face-to-face or conversational type of tip, it always reversed or always became to a point where I was forgiving them and then rekindling after forgiveness. And I that's another thing I want to say. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It does not mean that. It don't mean that because you forgive someone that you have to be their friend again. It don't mean that because you forgive somebody that y'all gotta hang out again every day. It does not mean that. Forgiveness is just you basically understanding the situation and releasing the situation. That's basically what forgiveness is. Like, I understand you did what you did, even if I don't understand why you did what you did. I know what you did, and because I don't want to walk around with that on my back, I'm going to release what you did, because it affects you. It affects you when you're walking around with grudges and resentment. You know, it kind of affects your nervous system. But yeah, understand that just because you forgive someone does not mean that you have to rekindle, reunite, or just anything like that. You could release whatever it is that needed to be forgiven and just move on with your life, however you proceed to. And I was just telling my kids earlier, because I knew I would come on today and, you know, make this shadow work episode, but I was just telling my children earlier, like, you know, when someone, you know, hurts you or deceive you or just do something to you that you know is not right, and it doesn't matter if you love them, or it doesn't matter how much you love them or how much they love you. If somebody knows how much you love them or how much they love you and they're willing to, you know, hurt you, betray you, deceive you, or whatever the case might be, the love it wasn't that important to them. You know, it's okay to give somebody one chance and let them mess up that chance and forgive them and move on with your life. You don't have to, you know, go put yourself in the same environment or around the same people just to get the same treatment, you know? So, and I wanted to, and that's a message for you guys too. You don't have to, just because you forgive somebody does not mean that if you go and rekindle it that they're going to be better, or that they're going to be nicer to you, or that they're going to be loyal to you. No, it does not mean that. If your love wasn't that important to them the first time, it won't be that important the second time. Sometimes people will learn what you, like who you are to them, or what you mean to them with your absence, you know. And being the bigger person is just you forgiving, period, is you being the bigger person. And once you forgive, you will feel the relief of, you will feel it, you know. A lot of people don't know. This might be a video for another day, but a lot of times when we hold certain like resentment and things like that, it get held up in certain places in your body. Like your body could be literally affected by you carrying like negative emotions within you. I honestly believe that's all I have to say today. I did not write a short message for this video. Yeah, I didn't. But I am going to close this out by saying that I love y'all so very much. But the Most High love y'all so much more. I hope everybody having a beautiful morning, evening, or night whenever you are watching this video. God bless. I will see you on the next.